Wait for y'all to come into the room because there are some things that we need to address, and I need to do a disclaimer before I start because I need to make some things abundantly clear about my channel, because I need people to understand how my content works before you respond. I want people to understand that when I do these Country Wayne skits, I need y'all to understand there is multiple different facets that I determine how I respond. Okay? I also need people to understand that I understand the difference between people's opinions, their thoughts, their feelings. I get it. I understand it. Now, I am not in any capacity saying I don't see it from your point of view, because I do. So that is not where the issue is when it comes to how I do my content. It has everything to do with the fact that I do my research. I don't just get on these platforms and just say something out the top of my neck just to be saying it. That is not the way that I operate, and I have never operated that way, and I never will. Okay? I used to be someone that when I would respond to things, it would be based on my first reaction. But that is not a good way to go about reacting to anything, because people will use it against you. So I'm going to go through this whole entire Amber and Tamara situation objectively. Now, anybody that knows anything about being objective, it means that you look at it from every aspect and you break it down from both negative and positive perspectives. And then you come with a conclusion or a solution, one of the two. Now, does emotions play a part of that? Yes, it does. But you cannot be objective if you make decisions based on somebody's opinion or based on somebody's feelings, but not something that is a fact. Okay? So I understand everybody's point of view, but here's the issue I have. Majority of y'all are really, really irking my nerves when it comes to it was before the wedding. I don't care when it was. If somebody does something wrong, I don't care when it was done. That does not matter to me. What matters is the fact that it was done at all. That is the problem. Now, it's one thing if the person did what they did because they were in a situation where their life depended on it, meaning somebody physically caused harm and they had to do what they had to do to save their life, but because of word of mouth, absolutely not. So again, the one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 48 laws of power like I've always done when it comes to these Country Wayne skits. I am not going to do these Country Wayne skits based upon just my feelings. I'm going to do them based on being logical. But I do understand the emotional part of it too. I do understand the loyalty part of it. I do understand the part of people that do things wrong. Hurt people do hurt people. I am about empathy, sympathy, and understanding. I am. I get it. But y'all are not going to come on here and try to justify Amber and what she does, knowing that she's in the wrong. It's just like with Sunny, for example, when it comes to Sunny and that situation. So, like I said, I could go through all of these skits all day long. I could do that. But in the end, I'm not going to sit up here and continue to deal with people trying to justify and pick and choose when somebody is wrong because of when it happened. I don't care about when it happened. The point is that it was done. That is the point to all of this. So again, when people come on my platform, people have every right to say that Amber is wrong, Shayla is wrong. They have every right to say their thoughts, their feelings, and their opinions on it. But at the same time, for you to come on here and tell somebody they're wrong because of their perspective, you don't have the right to do that, because the first thing I'm going to tell you is pull the receipts. Show me that what this person is saying is wrong about these Country Wayne skits. You're not just going to come up here and tell somebody they're wrong and you have no evidence to back up what you're saying. So I'm a receipt type of person. So if you come to me and tell me I'm wrong, please prove me wrong. Please pull up the research. That way I can look at it. So the fact that you got so many people up here that is talking about that Tamara is wrong for being in Amber's house. Well, let me give you a reality check. Is Amber on that lease? Amber is not on that lease. So at the end of the day, that is not her house. That is Anthony's house. Now, let me also break something down about that. Since y'all want to go into tradition and all, let's get into it. The fact that y'all keep saying that that is her house. No, it's not. Why is it that her and Anthony just didn't get a house together? See, your house is still separate if your name is not on it. So if you move into a house that a man had before y'all got married, that is not how marriage works. Let me start there. Anything that you had before the marriage is yours, including that house. Now, if she was to renovate the house and she was to add something to the house, and I'm not talking about furniture, I'm talking about the house itself. If she was to remodel the house, any money that she put into that equity, that's what she gets, okay? That is not her house. And most people, that is why some people don't get a house until they're married. Or if they do have a house, both parties will still keep their houses and they might rent it out, but they're not going to sell it, okay? So for all you ladies that keep thinking when you move into another man's house, that's your house. No, it ain't. That is not your house. That is his house. Y'all need to buy something that is together. That's why you do not buy anything until you're married. Now, if you're going to buy an apartment, that is one thing. By all means, you should. But I don't recommend anybody buying a house and you're the only one living in it. Just get a condo, get a townhouse. Don't buy a house until you're married. If you don't get married and you say, I'm never going to get married, then and only then buy a house. If you have kids, then buy a house. But don't buy a house and y'all not married. That's stupid. That's dumb, actually. So again, if you're talking about a fresh start, then a fresh start is, I'm not living in a house where another woman lived in. Or I'm not sleeping on a mattress that another woman has sex with you on that mattress. I'm just not. So a fresh start is a fresh start. It is no, I'm still going to sleep on the same mattress, and yet I'm still going to have sex with somebody else on a mattress that I just had sex with another man on. That's stupid. So starting over is exactly that, starting over. That means you get rid of all of the old stuff and you bring in something new. So if you're going to be with somebody, then you don't need to be in that same apartment. If not, you need to change the mattress on that apartment for that bed. So that is how relationships work. If you break up with somebody, you don't sleep with them on the same bed. You just don't. Why am I going to have sex in a bed with another man just slept on? That's stupid. So again, that is my whole entire point. Starting over is exactly that, starting over. That means everything is changed. Because when Anthony told Amber about Shayla and what happened, the first thing she should have did was got rid of that furniture. See, like I said, I don't want to be nowhere where there's reminders of my situation and what happened. And the fact that Shayla was in that bed and you're still sleeping in the bed, that is beyond crazy to me. So again, I see everybody's points. I really do. And I understand. But at the same time, you got to be very realistic when it comes down to things. And you have to see things for what they are, not what you want them to be. So again, when it comes to the truth, it's like people pick and choose what the truth is. You can't do that with the truth. Now, with a lie, you can pick and choose, but not with the truth. And the truth is, Amber slept with Wayne, and that is just the bottom line. In the real world, there's no way in the world a man will be still doing business with a man that slept with his wife. We all know that. We all know that is not going to be how that situation is. I need people to start being more realistic. And like I said, why in the world is Wayne still doing business with Anthony, considering the fact of the matter of the situation? So like I said, there is no man in the real world that's going to do business with another man that slept with his wife. He's not even going to allow his wife to do business with that man. When I tell you it's about cutting ties, it's about cutting ties. So no matter what, because they can't get rid of either one of them, they're going to always be a fixture in their relationship. But nobody's looking at it from that perspective. Anthony and Amber got back together, but yet Wayne and Shayla are still a part of their lives. And that's where the issue is. Shayla is a part of their lives because she got a baby by a baby by Anthony. And Wayne is still a part of their life because Wayne still does business with Anthony, and he did do business with Amber at one time. So like I said, if you're going to cut ties, then you have to cut ties completely. Any therapist is going to tell you, if somebody slept with your wife, why are you still doing business with them? Because if they can do that to your wife, they can also do you dirty when it comes to business as well. So like I said, there have been many times that Wayne has done, Anthony wrong, and Anthony still continues to do business with him. So like I said, ain't no way in the world I'm going to do business with a man that slept with my wife. I'm just not doing it. There's no way I'm going to do business with a woman that slept with my husband. That is crazy to me. That makes no sense. So again, when you have critical thinking, common sense, and common judgment, that just is not what you're going to do. So for those of y'all that are sitting up here talking about, well, she's going off on Tamara, let me break down something to y'all. Since we want to be realistic here, do y'all want the truth or you want to lie? Because let me break down something from a master manipulator perspective, and I'm gonna be just as frank as I can be. A master manipulator will take this whole entire thing and destroy it. Do you know how easy it is to take Anthony away from Amber? Do you know how easy it is to basically get to Amber? See, y'all got to understand the one thing that when it comes to negative people that they love more than anything, and that is negative energy. They get a kick off your insecurities, your doubts, and things of that nature. So, like I said, if Shayla really wanted Anthony back, she could get him back very easily. The fact that Shayla is rent-free in Amber's mind, the fact that she cannot let go of any of it, then why did you go back? Because if you can't let it go completely, and you can't accept the fact that Shayla is a part of this situation, that's why you keep bringing up things about Shayla and what she does, because you trying to get Anthony to go for custody. Let me break down what this is truly about. She is trying to convince, she going to eventually try to get Anthony to go for custody of that baby. She is waiting for Shayla to slip up so she can go for custody. That way they can completely get Shayla out the picture. Because the only way she going to get Shayla out the picture is if she can prove that Shayla is an unfit mother. So that's why she keep bringing up little things like, the baby smelling like marijuana and stuff like that. She is trying her best to try to find something on Shayla so she can basically get custody of that baby. That is what she is trying to do. Because she is trying to get rid of Shayla once and for all. And the only way she gonna get rid of Shayla is if they get custody of that baby. So like I said, at the end of the day, like I said, the way Amber, when they pulled up and they saw that house, even though the house ain't nowhere near on the level of Anthony and Amber's house, is the fact that if you look at the house that Amber got, is nowhere near the house that Shayla got. So let me go back to why that was an argument. I would have to go back to when she wanted that house, that original house that she got, the one that Brittany was living in. Okay, let me break down what the issue is in this situation. When Amber, before everything popped off, when it came to Shayla, they were talking about Amber, Brittany went to Amber and said, you need to get a house. You need something that is of your own, just in case something happens with Anthony. At first, she wasn't going to do that at first. Now, the house that Amber got, it is nice, but it ain't nowhere near the house that Shayla got. That's what that issue was. It had nothing to do with what y'all thought it was. It's the fact that when Amber asked Anthony to give her that house, you remember he argued her to the ground about that house, but he finally got it for her. But with Shayla, the house that Shayla has is bigger than the house that Amber got. That's what the issue is. It ain't got nothing to do with their main house. It's about the fact that she feels like every time she asks for something when it comes to Anthony, it's like pulling teeth. But when it comes to Shayla, he's quick to give Shayla whatever it is that she wants. So that is what the issue is. The fact that he took her to Jamaica, the fact that he paid for the apartment, stuff like that, things like that. That is what the issue is. It ain't got nothing to do with the main house, because that house is actually Anthony's house. She's not added on to that house. He still has not added on to that house. So if Anthony really wanted to make this work, why would he not add Amber onto the house? Why would he not? I mean, if he really wanted to show that he really wanted everything to work, then he would put Amber on that house. But he's not going to do that. So the question is, what bills does Amber pay in that house? That's the second thing. What bills does she pay? Because again, that right there going to play a factor too. If a woman pays half the bills, then that's a whole nother conversation. If she's paying bills in that house, you know what I'm saying, then that's a whole nother thing. But if Amber's not paying the bills in that house and Anthony is, then no, she has no equity into that house. But if she remodels that house and the equity is worth more than whatever the equity is on that house, she gets that money. She gets a part of whatever the equity is on that house. So they'll balance how much the house was worth before and then how much the house is worth now. So she'll get an equity stake in that. But see, I have not seen Amber once talk about remodeling that house. She has not once said, let's remodel the house. Let me make this house look different. Not once has she done that. Because me personally, that's what I would have done. I'd have made sure I had equity in that house. But being that she does not have equity in that house, then that's a whole nother thing. Now, she could have gotten the house because of the fact that he abandoned it for so long. If he's been gone longer than a specific amount of time, then yes, the house does go to her. So being that he had been gone for almost about 2 years or about a year, then yeah, she could have got the house that way because he abandoned it. So if you abandon the house for a certain amount of time, that house, you lose the house. So like I said, if she would have just sat back and waited and let the time go by, let him be out there, and then for the divorce say that he abandoned the house, as long as she got proof that he ain't been there and proof that he been staying elsewhere, she could have got the house. That way, if she'd have been smart. So like I said, in the end, like I said, either you're going to let it go completely or you ain't. So the issue to me is not the fact that she went back. It's the fact that she cannot let go of this situation. Then why go back if you can't let it go? If you can't completely let go of the fact that Shayla is going to be a part of your lives because y'all, your husband got a child by her. So if you can't even let go of it, then why are you going back? So again, for a lot of y'all, I am not going to sit up here and hold Shayla primarily responsible for what happened in their marriage. No, they had problems before that, before Shayla even slept with Anthony. So again, you cannot say that what Amber did before the marriage doesn't matter, because it does. It absolutely matters. If anything, it matters more so. Because what happened, what she did with Wayne trickled into the marriage. So yes, it does matter. Y'all cannot pick and choose when somebody does something and say, oh, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does. It matters. If somebody was impacted and affected by what that person did before or after the marriage, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. And the fact that y'all trying to make it seem like that's not the case is ridiculous to me, because it really irks my nerves. Because I disagree. I feel like whatever you did before is worse than what you did in that marriage. Because what you did before the marriage trickles into the marriage, which in turns mess with the future kids or kids that you currently got. Because again, if you did something before the marriage and you didn't say nothing, and then it comes out during the marriage, yes, that is worse, because you went into the marriage based on a lie. They got married based on a lie. Because Amber, like I said, I went back and looked at her face. She didn't really even want to marry him. She was waiting for Wayne to stand up at that wedding, on that wedding day. She was like a deer in headlights. She was even worried about the fact of Wayne saying something. So again, no, we ain't doing that. No, sir, we're not. So no, we're not doing that. Y'all are not gonna make it seem like what Amber and Wayne did wasn't wrong. Yes, it was. And like I said, if I was Anthony, I would have completely cut ties with Wayne. I would have done business. If anything, what I would have done is found somebody else to do business with and cut him off. I would have told Rolanda, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. I can't do this. I cannot be around this man knowing he slept with my wife. Ain't no way in the world. And that just shows me that he don't care about Amber the way he claimed he do. Because like I said, any man that really care about his wife will never, ever do business with a man that basically mess with my wife. Because if you can mess with my wife, then you can do me dirty when it comes to business. So that matters. That absolutely matters. For those of y'all to think, oh, this happened. No, it does matter. Because she wasn't honest. And like I said, if Shayla wouldn't have told Anthony, would Amber have ever told him? No, she wouldn't have. No. Because if she really wanted to tell him, when he came over that same day after she slept with Wayne, she'd have told him then. She'd have told him then what she did. Matter of fact, she'd have broke down crying and said, I made a mistake. I slept with Wayne. And she should have told him, but she didn't. Every time that man was having sex with her, she was with Wayne. So the fact that you having sex with a woman that's having sex with a whole nother man ain't no way to work. So like I said, the way that men are when it comes to stuff like that, there is no way in the real world that would happen like that. And not to say that it wouldn't, but 9 times out of 10, it just wouldn't. Because like I said, what man still does business with a man that did what he did? And I really believe that is what he's doing. I believe he is really trying to cut ties with all of it. I really believe that. He's trying to cut ties. So when he walk away from Wayne and he walks away from Amber, he don't lose nothing. I think he's going to completely cut everybody off. Because like I said, this is going to be an argument. And he going to tell her, look, whether you like it or not, Tamara is a part of that man's life. Is it because of Shayla, or is this got something to do with Wayne? Because y'all got to understand, she also used to date Wayne. So like I said, the fact that she came at her, I'm not saying that you don't tell a person, how you felt about the situation or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, you still need to hear the other person out and hear what they got to say in response. That person has the right to defend themselves. They have every right to say whatever they need to say. Now, I'm not saying that you don't need to set boundaries, but if you think Wayne is going to stop bringing Tamara to your house, the person you should have talked to was not Tamara. It should have been Wayne. Because bottom line, Wayne is the one that brought her there. Tamara didn't just come over there on her own and just not come at the door. That is not how that went. I think what happened was they were in the car and they were already out and about. And I think Wayne said, let me go ahead and stop by there. So again, Tamara might have said it wasn't a good idea. And he probably said, no, it's fine. You know, I don't know why she would have an issue with you. And now it's come out. Does it make it right? No. No. But at the end of the day, like I said, grown women who have been there, done that, who are now elders, who are now wise, will tell any woman, going and getting pissed off and letting that woman know you upset. Let me tell you something. People ain't got to care about your feelings. People really don't have to care about your feelings. I don't care if you tell them your feelings hurt. They ain't got to care. So does Tamara really got to care about Amber's feelings? No. Is Tamara loyal? Is Tamara friends with Amber? No, she never was. So at the end of the day, she was honest with Amber. So like I said, her and Amber do not have to be friends, but they do have to be cordial. Because if you gonna cut Tamara and cut Sonny, then why haven't you cut Wayne? Why is it so determined that both of y'all got to keep Wayne in your life when Wayne is a problem? Wayne is the reason why Shayla ended up with Iman in the first place. So you could have found all of that out from Tamara. Like I said, Tamara would have been very useful to me. Because how I would have handled it, I would have spoke to her. I would have said nothing. I would have just seen how she is. So instead of Amber going off immediately, no, what I would have done is I would have spoke to her. I would have acted like I didn't know nothing. And I would have sat there and had a pure tea conversation just to see how she would be towards me. Now, depending on that, how the conversation, now if she start off saying, well, look, I know you probably know that me and Shayla are friends, but that doesn't mean I can't be cordial towards you. You know, it doesn't mean that I can't be cool with you, meaning that, yes, her and Shayla are friends, but they've only known each other for a little bit. So again, me personally knowing that, my thing is, okay, let me go ahead on and keep my enemies close. Let me go ahead on and use my skills to find out some information. Because when I tell you Tamara would have been useful to me, Tamara would have been very useful to me. So I wouldn't have cussed out. I wouldn't have said nothing. I would have sat right there and talked to her. Had just a, surface level conversation. I'd have been like, tell me, I heard that you're planning Wayne a surprise party. See, me personally, let me tell you how I would have handled it. I wouldn't have said nothing. I would have sat there and had let her talk. And then what I would have did was I would have made it so Tamara found out about every single last one of his exes. Because like I said, I would have had some conversations. And I'd have made sure all his exes were there so that way she could have found out about all his exes. But then again, I'm a different breed of an individual. So like I said, I'm one of them people, I want the information. So I'm not gonna cuss you out. I ain't gonna say nothing. Because the first thing that would have came to my mind was, I know that she's gonna be around for a little bit. Let's see how long she's gonna be around for. If the truth come out about everything. Because like I said, me being me, that's what I would have done. I'd have made sure all of his exes were there. I would have found Imani and told Imani to come. I'd have made sure all of Wayne's exes were there. And that way Tamara could have met them all. I'd have been like, Wayne didn't tell you that he used to date this person and that person and so on and so forth. Like I said, the one thing about a master manipulator is they play chess, not checkers. And a lot of y'all ain't on that level of that yet. People who know how to really beat a situation or a system knows how to maneuver. So you have to understand that when it come down to certain things, you better learn that certain things can be very useful. And to me, Tamara would have been very useful to me. Because like I said, she's the one that basically can keep me informed as far as everything that go on with Shayla. Because at the end of the day, even though no, I may not have been thrilled about the fact of, her and Shayla becoming friends, but still, she could have been very useful to me. Because I definitely would have been like, talking to her, just having a regular conversation. I wouldn't have gotten to Shayla so much. But the fact that she's the one that's around enough to see what's going on, oh, she would have been an asset to me. Because what I would have done is kept everything cordial. And I would like, do me a favor, don't tell Shayla that you and I associate, that you and I are, around each other. Because the last thing I want is drama. Not knowing that the whole entire time, I am taking notes and seeing what's going on when it comes to that baby. Especially after what happened with the ganja situation. And the fact that the whole entire baby was smelling like ganja. So that right there would have told me I would have used Tamara. Tamara would have been useful to me. Well, I ain't gonna say use her, but I definitely would have used her relationship with Shayla. And what I would have done was slowly told her everything, the things that she didn't know about the situation. That way she could have known, the whole situation. The same thing I would have did with Sonny. I wouldn't have done what Amber did. Because like I said, the fact that she thinks already that Shayla don't treat that baby right, you think I'm not going to utilize her friends? I certainly would. But then again, I'm a different breed of individual. So I just want people to understand I'm very different when it comes to these situations. So no, sometimes you got to use your greatest enemy to basically get information. Because you're not going to get it out right. So ask somebody if I wanted to be a master manipulator. You know how many people I could destroy if I wanted to? So you have to understand I'm also a Gemini. So we're all about knowledge. So again, being that I'm an objective person, I don't go off my emotions when I deal with people. Because I learned emotions are the greatest weakness when it comes to people. Especially negative people, they're going to take advantage of it. So like I said, the fact that, Wayne brought her over there. I'm telling you, Wayne was being petty. I'm going to throw another monkey wrench in this. Wayne brought Tamara over there for a reason. Wayne could have came over there by himself. But he brought Tamara. So let me tell you why he did what he did. Wayne did what he did to be petty. Because like I said, this got more. He knows how Tamara feels about Anthony. And also he knows that Shayla and Tamara are friends. Why would you bring her over there? Why would you bring her over there? That's stupid. You bringing her over there for what? So again, he did that to be petty towards Amber. Because again, like I said, anytime that he can do something to disrespect Amber, that's what he's going to do. And the fact that Amber slept with him, I still have no respect to her for that. You let a man that is sitting here clowning you, even to this day, in your house. Ain't no way in the world I'm going to let a man that almost destroyed my marriage, a man that lied to me, made it seem more than what it was and it wasn't. No. Absolutely not. Am I doing that? Because like I said, the fact that the man who started this from the very beginning is not only smiling in my husband's face, but still backstabbing him at the same time. And you think I'm still going to be around this individual? Y'all lost your mind. So again, I play chess, not checkers. So like I said, Wayne ain't nothing but a master manipulator. Because the fact that he is still a part of their lives, the fact that he still keep bringing different women in front of Amber and pissing her off. Yep, he's doing exactly like I said. And I've been saying this. He a serpent. So again, that's what he's doing. He is continuously disrespecting her husband. And instead of her just saying, you know what, let me stop the situation, it continues. So I get it. I understand. But no, we ain't doing that. So again, like I said, a lot of people want to be in a relationship. A lot of people want to be married. I get it. But if you got to destroy yourself to do it, no. It ain't worth it. But I get it. So don't get me wrong. I get a lot of things. But I still don't mean it ain't wrong. So just because I can empathize as to why the person did it, still doesn't mean it's wrong, that it's not wrong. Still doesn't mean what they did was right. Because it doesn't. It doesn't mean that. So what I want people to understand about this situation is you got to play chess, not checkers. Look, as somebody that knows a lot about manipulation, as somebody, if I wanted to manipulate a whole situation, I could. Without question. You'd hate me for it. Because like I said, the way that I learned about negativity and the way I know how to destroy it, I just choose to sit back and watch. Because when the truth come out, it ain't gonna matter at this point. So the answer is no. But I get it though. I do. But at the end of the day, you cannot be mad at somebody that's like sick and tired of being sick and tired. But like I said, I understand every single person who commented. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, wrong is still wrong. You cannot pick and choose why people are wrong. The point is they're wrong. There's no other way around it. But if you want to understand why they did what they did, what was their mind frame, then that's a whole nother conversation. But that person has achieved the goal that they want to achieve. Now it's time to come up with some new goals. So like I said, does it make it right about this whole situation? No. But is it what it is? Yep. So again, when you start healing and recovering, you learn a lot. You learn how to handle negative situations. You know how to walk away and just say, you know what, this ain't my thing, and I'm moving forward. So I literally understand. But the one thing about master manipulators, and that's the part that nobody talks about, master manipulators is a combination of every single negative point and can destroy you one way or another. It doesn't care. So I get it. So don't think for a moment I don't see, everybody's side on this, because I do. But as somebody that if I wanted to manipulate, I could. As someone that's mind is beyond my years, as somebody that don't play games and don't play, then you should know what's going to happen. So, like I said, that's how that works. So again, everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody got a right to their thoughts. But your opinion is not the end all be all. At the end of the day, everybody got the right to say what they say, and that's fine. But the reason I have an issue with these panels is because they're not being realistic. So at the end of the day, like I said, your journeys are for you to figure out. And with Anthony and Amber, it would be so easy to manipulate this situation. It would be so easy to tear their marriage apart. It wouldn't even be funny. It would be really easy to tear their whole entire relationship apart if I wanted to. Because let me tell you something about a master manipulator. And I need you to matter of fact, get a sheet of paper. Because I'm going to break down a master manipulator for you. The one thing about manipulators are as follows. A manipulator is somebody that knows every way to destroy you. They observe you, they watch you, and they know exactly when and how to strike. Okay? That's the first thing. Number two, emotions are a manipulator's greatest defense against you. They can use your flaws, your imperfections. They can use everything against you. They will use your loyalty. They will use everything against you. The one thing about a master manipulator is they observe you and they have watched you. And they will take everything you said and everything you do from your past and use it against you as a weapon. Not only that, they will definitely use your past experiences against you. So again, what a master manipulator is, they don't care about your feelings, your wants. All they care about is, I want what I want and you're going to give it to me. They already have in mind what they have in store for you. They already have it planned. So trust me, it ain't going to work like that. So that's how I look at all that. I don't look at it as a game. I don't look at it as, but like I said, I've dealt with people that are sociopaths and psychopaths. But see, that's another thing that y'all don't bring up. Sociopaths and psychopaths. So again, it wouldn't be hard. Let me tell you something. If Amber came at me the way she came at Tamara, my reaction would be very different. Number one, I'm going to look at her and say, first of all, I was never friends with you, sweetheart. You and I were never friends. Yes, I was there for you. Yes, I supported you as somebody that was about the church. That's what a godly person would do. That's what any Samaritan would do. That does not mean that her and Tamara are friends. They were never friends at all at the end of the day. Number two, like I said, I did not choose to be here. Wayne brought me here. But since I was here, let's go ahead and get everything out in the open. You coming at me mad because Shayla, because like I said, when Tamara tells Shayla that she saw Amber, don't get me wrong, Shayla is gonna give Tamara that eye. But when she explains what happened, best believe Shayla is going to tell her that Wayne and Amber messed around on Anthony. Yes, that is coming out. She is going to tell her. So like I said, Amber has no leverage when it comes to nobody. Let me break this down for y'all. If you have done your own dirt, please don't try to act like you're an angel, because you're not. And that is what everybody is trying to put Amber in, a position that she does not deserve to be in. This is her karma. I'm going to say it again. This is her karma. All of it. God did not tell her to go back. Her pride told her to go back. So again, as a master manipulator, I would use her emotions against her. Matter of fact, I would make her go off on me just so I could play victim. Y'all don't understand. That is the whole point of negative people. They are trying to get you to come out of character. They're trying to make you go against being a godly person. That's what they do. So like I said, if I wanted to, because like I said, I commend Tamara the way she handled it, because she handled it the way that a person should handle it. I have no loyalty to you. My loyalty is not to you. But here's my thing. I knew when I came here, this conversation was going to come up. Then let's go ahead on and have it. But my whole thing is the way that Amber handled it. Amber did not handle it the way a grown woman that has dealt with my issues handles it. A person that is healed and recovered, number one, even if they know the situation is what it is, they are not going to react the way Amber reacted. Anything, they're going to sit down, have a conversation, and it may come up, but it's not going to come up in that way. Number one, they're going to say, I heard you and Shayla are friends. That's how I would have brought it up. And she'd have been like, yeah, me and Shayla have become friends. How did the two of you meet? She said, well, we met, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, look, I'm not going to tell you not to be friends with Shayla. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to warn you that she's the one that slept with my husband. Now, Tamara may have turned around and flipped it if she had known about Wayne and said, well, didn't you sleep with Wayne while you were married? See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all don't know me, because that would come up in conversation. Because me, I do my research. So Shayla wouldn't have had to tell me that. I would have known. So again, like she said, she has nothing to do with that situation, and she don't. So like I said, if I'm doing business with two people and they don't like each other, they ain't got nothing to do with me. Because it don't. So the fact that y'all sitting up here trying to make it seem like Amber is the one that is the victim in this situation, she's not. She's not the victim in the situation. Nobody's the victim in this situation. I don't feel sorry for none of them at all. All of them have done dirt. All of them have done wrong. Bottom line. So none of them have leverage over the other. Wayne don't have leverage. Tamara don't have leverage. None of them have leverage. But at the end of the day, I commend Tamara because Tamara stood her ground. And that's the one thing that Amber wasn't prepared for. That's why when Tamara said, I'll leave, she wasn't going to sit around and wait for Amber to ask her to leave. She said, well, if you don't want me here, I'll leave. And that's what she did. So actually, Amber did not win that conversation. Tamara did. Matter of fact, I take that back. Shayla won that conversation. Let me explain something about the situation. If Amber was really not worried about Shayla, she wouldn't have came at Tamara at all, to be honest. Why would you come after Tamara? Because she don't give Shayla that same energy. All it was about that house. That energy that she was feeling when it came to that house, she took out on Tamara. Because here's the thing. If that house would have never been seen and she wouldn't have went over there, that conversation would have been completely different. But the fact that she still has not gotten over the fact that Shayla got a house. She still hasn't got over the fact that her house is bigger than the one that Anthony got Amber. That is what the issue is. It has nothing to do with that main house. That main house is Anthony's house. It got everything to do with that other house that Brittany was staying in compared to the house that Shayla got. But nobody caught that except me. You forget that Amber also has a house. So the fact that the house that Amber got from Anthony is smaller than that house that Shayla got, the fact that Shayla bounced back with Iman, so even though her and Iman are not together no more, the point that I'm trying to make is Shayla is winning because Shayla is doing what Amber should have done when she decided to get that divorce. Move on. I would have loved to see both of them to move on, to be honest. I would have loved to see Shayla move on and Amber move on. Because again, if both of them can let go of their pride and both of them have a conversation, Amber would have found out from Shayla that the only reason he went to counseling was because he didn't want to lose his assets. Shayla would have found out from Amber that he said he was trying to get back with her. That way, both of them would have left him alone. So like I said, I really do not understand why y'all are up here thinking that this was about Tamara. No, it wasn't. It was about that house deal. It just so happened that she was just the one that got the grunt of it all. That's what that was. Because as pissed off as soon as she saw that house. And even that day when she was around Shayla, she was being civil. So all it was between her having to swallow her pride and having to bow down to Shayla and be civil to Shayla. The fact that she's going to constantly have to bow down and be civil to Shayla, who is a woman that got his child. Shayla does not have to bow down to Amber. Amber has to bow down to her because that's his baby mama. So for those of y'all that keep thinking the wife is the winner, nope, the wife is only the winner if that side chick ain't got no kids by him. If that woman got kids by him, you gonna be bowing down to that woman quite often. You ain't gonna have a choice in the matter. That woman's not going nowhere. That woman has his child. She ain't going nowhere. But you can always be replaced. The wife can always be replaced. That baby mama is never gonna be able to be replaced. I don't care how many women he end up with. That's why I told y'all, marriage. See, let me break down how this works, so that way I can make sure I'm clear. The way my grandmother taught me. Mommy and daddy is actually husband and wife. Let me explain why I say that. Mommy and daddy is irreplaceable. You can't replace parents. Okay. So you go from girlfriend and boyfriend. No, you go from courting to dating to girlfriend and boyfriend to marriage to being parents. Parents is the final stage of marriage. And it was in a nursery rhyme. First come love, then come marriage, then come baby and baby carriage. There it is. That is marriage. It's the truth. So again, first is girlfriend. And first of all, is you a person that's dating or courting or whatever you want to call it. Because courting and dating is different. So let me break it down before we even get started. When you are dating somebody that is about sex, that is what it's about. It's not about relationship. It's about sex. You are a woman of the night. Now, if you somebody that want to be courted, let me start here. Number one, don't wear a sexy outfit when you go to dinner. If you are trying to be a wife, then you need to be modest. Point blank, period. You do not go out in a sexy outfit because you will be considered a woman of the night. That is something that my grandmother always told me. You don't never go on your first date looking like you are a woman of the night. Now, for those of y'all who don't know what a woman of the night is, it is a prostitute. So anytime you go out on your first date at night, you are considered a woman of the night. That is why these men, when they take you out to dinner, why do you think they take you out to dinner? They take you out to dinner so they can take you home and have sex with you. So in other words, it's still a transaction, that part. So my grandmother said, don't ever go out on a dinner on a first date. That's why a coffee date, lunch date, breakfast date. No, never go out on your first date on a dinner date. There is a reason for that. That is something my grandmother always told me. That's why I never want to go to dinner when it comes to a date. So, if a man is trying to court you, that means he is trying to marry you, which means that he is going to take you on your first date. Will not be a dinner date. Your first date is actually going to be a coffee date. It will never be a dinner date, your first date. It will always be a breakfast date or brunch date or something of that nature, or a early dinner, meaning y'all go like about 5, 6 o'clock, you might go to dinner. But he's going to bring you back before it gets too late. So you wouldn't be considered a woman of the night. So again, if you really knew the history of dating, then you would know that that is what the Johns would call when they went out with an escort. So dating means that basically, essentially, a man takes you to dinner, a man takes you to an event, and you are paid to be his companion. But sex is also on the table. That part. So when you go out on these dinner dates and you are going out showing everything, then yes, it's considered a transaction. You are now a transaction. So I just wanted to say that. So I would never recommend a woman that wants to be a wife to go out with a man at night. Number 2, when it comes to dating, if a man is trying to court you, number 1, he's gonna have a conversation with your father. That part. If your father is in the picture, do not go on that dinner date till your daddy meets that man. Let your daddy vet that person before you even think about going out on that date. As a matter of fact, the man that's trying to go out on a date with you will ask your father first anyway. Just like they ask your father for your hand in marriage, they're going to ask your daddy to court you. So, no, that's the next thing. That is one old school value thing that I have learned. So, a man that really wants to date you and really wants you to be his girlfriend, number 1 is going to ask your father not only for your hand in marriage, but also permission to date you. That's how you know if a man really want to be with you. The next thing that's going to be the one that I'm going to have the most controversy about, if a man really is trying to court you and really trying to marry you, he will be celibate for you. That part. Yes, that man will not be out here having sex until marriage. Let me explain why I say that. The way that a woman knows if a man really wants to be with her, he will be celibate for you until marriage. He will not want to have sex with another woman until y'all are married. And he will stick to that. Y'all be going through that journey together. There are men out here who are celibate. So if you get a man that is celibate, a man that basically is no longer having sex, has given you paperwork saying that he does not have any venereal diseases, a man that has cleansed himself of all of his exes and has decided that he was not going to have sex, that is how you know if that man truly wants to marry you. That is how you know. He is celibate for you. This is a man that has not had sex in 3 to 6 months because he is on a celibacy path, because he is no longer having sex with multiple women. That is how you know. Where women have made the mistake, y'all been thinking like men when it comes to sex. You're not a man, you're a woman. You can get pregnant. That's the next thing. Stop thinking that you're a man when it comes to sex. Hello. You are not a man when it comes to sex. Okay? Stop thinking you can do the same thing that men can do considering you get pregnant. We're not doing that in 2026. The next thing. A man would never ask you to lower yourself in order to build him up. A man will never want to be with you if he don't have himself together. No man will ever date if he knows he ain't got himself together. That's the next thing. So if a man does not have himself together, he will want you to be his friend. He will not ever ask you to date him or build him, because if anything, he's going to want you to assist him, not to build him. Okay? So, no. The next thing, how you know that a man really want to be with you, he doesn't go to the strip clubs. He goes nowhere where the devil lies. Anywhere where the devil is, he ain't going. He ain't going nowhere where there is temptation. If anything, him and his homeboys may go bowling. They may go to a movie. They may even go play pool. But they ain't going nowhere where the devil lies. They ain't going. And even if they feel it, they ain't going. But it's not about going out with women. Matter of fact, all the friends that he dates have the same mentality. They don't go where the devil lies. So none of his friends are going out and looking for women. They're going out to just enjoy themselves. They're going out to just, hang out. The next thing, if a man cannot accept you without makeup, if he can't accept your imperfection and flaws, that's not your person either. So like I said, there's a lot of non-negotiables here. And it's important to have non-negotiables. Because if you don't have non-negotiables, that person can treat you any kind of way. However they feel. Does it make it right? No. But does it happen? Yes. So like I said, when it comes to this situation, you got to be realistic. Y'all got to stop thinking that because Anthony and Amber are back together, that that's how black relationships should be. No, they shouldn't. There's no way in the world I'm going back to somebody that cheated on me and had a baby on me and slept with my best friend. There ain't no way in the world I'm going back to that. There's no way in the world I'm going to be with somebody that ain't got themselves together. That is not happening. Like I said, I am no longer lowering myself to build anybody up at this point. Not in 2026. It's not happening. And beyond. So again, a woman that really is healed would not be worried about Shayla and Tamara being friends. A person that is really healed is going to use it to their advantage. That is what they're going to do. They're not going to worry about emotionally being attached. They're going to be like, okay, cool. So no. So I'm not going to sit up here and be like, well, this person is right, but yet this other person is wrong. Both parties are wrong. There is no in between in these situations. These skits are all the same situations, just different versions of it. So like I said, this situation is complicated. But like I said, I understand all of y'all feelings and I understand all your thoughts and I understand. Believe me, I'm with you on it. But we have to be realistic here. There has to be some uncomfortable truths here. If we sit up here and base relationships on romance don't last long. Sex don't last long. Looks don't last long. Y'all better start looking at people's character and looking at, do they have the same morals and values as you? Instead of y'all looking at what somebody look like, you need to look at whether or not that person's a believer or a non-believer or not. Y'all got to start being a little bit more realistic here in your choices. Because if you're basing your choices on how somebody make you feel, that's like getting high. That's like getting high and you love the way you feel when you get high. What do? You continue that drug. So if a man is good in bed, you're going to continue to stay with him because he gives you that high. And I get it. That high does make you feel good, but that high does not last. And when you finally come down permanently, then you're going to be like feeling miserable. And then you can't go without it. Then every day you got to have that fix. And then it becomes an addiction. Like I said, does any of this make it right? Nope. But it's the honest to God truth. So if you base your marriage on date night, let me break something down to y'all. That's a very uncomfortable truth. Your date night, if you got kids, is going to be Chuck E. Cheese, going to the grocery store, fun, put, that's going to be your date night. But see, that's the thing. Welcome to transition and transformation. Welcome to evolving, elevating, maturing, and growing. Welcome to it. Whether you like it or not, you are going to elevate into these phases. So for those of y'all who think that girlfriend and boyfriend doesn't matter, then take it out your vocabulary. Let's just get rid of it altogether. Let's just get rid of girlfriend and boyfriend altogether. Let's just do dating and courting, skip girlfriend and boyfriend and go into husband and wife. Why don't we just do that? Why don't we just eliminate it altogether? Okay? If that's really what y'all want to do. Because the one thing, like I told y'all, I will strip away your excuses. So let's do it then. Since y'all saying that girlfriend and boyfriend does not matter, let's take it away from okay. Let's talk solutions here then. Let's talk solutions to it all. So if you're saying that what Amber did, because Amber was his girlfriend and fiance, then take away both of them. Just strip it. Strip it. Now what? Now what? What would you be if you take away girlfriend and boyfriend and just go straight from dating to marriage? What would you have, honestly? I told y'all, I will strip your argument from you. So let's strip it. So if we strip away girlfriend and boyfriend and just automatically take that away, then what would you be? So you wouldn't be a girlfriend and boyfriend, and you wouldn't be a wife. Then what would you be to that man then? Would you still be having sex with him if you want a girlfriend or boyfriend? Would you be doing girlfriend boyfriend duties if we take it away? Because I hope you know girlfriend and boyfriend duties are the same thing as husband and wife. You know that, right? Girlfriend and boyfriend duties are the same thing as husband and wife. The only difference is you're giving that person your last name. And you're getting that last name. That is the only difference. So actually, girlfriend and boyfriend is actually fiance. Pretty much. Because the same way you ask somebody to marry you, same way you ask somebody to be your girlfriend or boyfriend, whichever one you want to call it. So actually, girlfriend and boyfriend is actually fiance. And actually, when you're asking that person to marry you, that's pretty much you saying you're ready to give that person your last name. Stages. Ace and stages. So like I said, y'all are just trying to justify something you can't justify. You cannot justify negative behavior. You just can't. Unless a person is making you do it. And I'm talking about physically making you do it. Then you can justify it. Can't justify word of mouth. So again, I can twist and turn this in whatever way I want to twist it and turn it. But it's still going to equal the same thing. So again, when a man makes a woman his girlfriend, that is making that woman your fiance. So yeah, let's be technical about it. If a woman lives with a man for 7 years as girlfriend and boyfriend, what is the difference between the two? Nothing, except that person gets your last name and the other one doesn't. The other person gets, if something happens, they're protected. The other person is not. That is the only difference between girlfriend and boyfriend and husband and wife. Girlfriend and boyfriend also means you're not supposed to be having kids as girlfriend and boyfriend either, but yet y'all do. But okay. So if girlfriend and boyfriend wasn't really a factor in this situation, why are a bunch of women having sex and living with men and they're not legally married? Okay. Why is it that girlfriend and boyfriend is still a commitment, no different than husband and wife? The only difference is that person has your last name. That's about it. Okay. The next time y'all try to tongue twist something, please make sure somebody is not somebody that also is good at it. So again, let's just remove girlfriend and boyfriend and call it a day. Let's just remove it. So if you want to take away the justification of it all, let's just turn it into friends with benefits. Let's do that. Let's take away girlfriend and boyfriend and add friends with benefits. Would that work for y'all? Because if that's what you want, we can do that too. So the next time y'all try to come on here talking about Amber and what happened before the marriage, I'm going to tell you like this here. I'm going to strip away girlfriend and boyfriend and just say her and Wayne were just to say her and Wayne and Anthony were just friends with benefits. If you want to be technical about it. Since y'all saying that girlfriend and boyfriend does not matter, let's switch the roles. Let's just eliminate girlfriend and boyfriend, take it out of our vocabulary, and add friends with benefits or just the F word. Which one you want to do? Because here's the thing I'm trying to get women to understand. Please don't take out the girlfriend and boyfriend, because if you do, then you are now friends with benefits. You are now a woman of the night. You are a woman that is just having sex with a man. So there will be no commitments. So if you take away girlfriend and boyfriend and a man doesn't have to be your boyfriend or girlfriend and you completely eliminate that, then what exactly are you going to be to this man if there's no commitments before marriage? So you think the commitment started when you walked down the aisle? Is that what y'all think? You think because you put that white dress on and paid $50,000 that you're now committed to this man, but yet this man is committing infidelity through your whole entire relationship, including your marriage? Okay. I need y'all to understand I am somebody that when I have these conversations, I think about exactly what y'all gonna say. So I'm already responding without really even y'all saying anything. So again, welcome to critical thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Because this is what critical thinking is. So before you make any decisions, ask yourself, ladies, the next time y'all try to say that girlfriend and boyfriend don't matter, then I tell you what, take it out your vocabulary and see what happens. Hold on a second, babe. Because I'm about to go to bed. But I want you to take it out your vocabulary then. So we as a society, let's just go ahead and take out girlfriend and boyfriend and see how that works for you. Because I promise you, a lot of y'all will not be getting married. So let me give you a little reality check. I would rather be a girlfriend or boyfriend than be a woman of the night, a woman that's just the F word, or friends with benefits, because that's the only option you got. So yes, being a girlfriend does mean something. Because if you strip away girlfriend and boyfriend, what exactly are you going to be to this man? Hey, Ross. So let's come correct here. Let's go ahead on and come correct here. If you strip away girlfriend and boyfriend, what are you going to be? Can you answer that question for me, ladies? Because I really want an answer. What would you be if you want a girl? If you're not a wife and you're not dating, then what would you be? What's the in between dating and courting and marriage? What would you be? Nothing. Nothing. Like I said, the same way I said about you calling yourself black, same thing. You would be nothing. So if there is no girlfriend and boyfriend, then what would you be? See, that's what I'm saying. When y'all get on these platforms and you get to running off at your mouth, and then if somebody like myself says, okay, then strip away girlfriend and boyfriend then. Let's just strip it. Since y'all saying there's no value to it, then let's just strip it. Let's just get rid of girlfriend and boyfriend then. Let's just all together get rid of it. How long do you think that will last? Do you know how many men would be happy about the fact that women want to get rid of girlfriend and boyfriend? Since you're saying that girlfriend and boyfriend have no value at all, strip it. Let's eliminate it. Fellas, you ain't got to worry about having girlfriends and boyfriends at this point because women don't want it. Because apparently they don't even see the value in it. They think that girlfriend and boyfriend doesn't matter. Like girlfriend and boyfriend is the same as dating. No, it's not. It's a commitment. It's the commitment you make before you get actually legally married and become parents. But okay. So you're going to miss a whole entire step, right? So, ladies, if y'all do not think that girlfriend and boyfriend doesn't matter, then fellas, don't even do it at this point. There's no point of men being committed to you at all. So go ahead. Let's just strip it because I'm tired of y'all talking about girlfriend and boyfriend don't matter. And Amber did it before the marriage. Then get rid of it. Then get rid of it. Let's just let y'all just continue to date. Continue to be with multiple men and carry on. Just go ahead and continue being promiscuous, and then y'all wonder why these men don't want to date y'all. Okay. So you want to basically lose respect for yourselves and go on out here and mess around with multiple men. But okay, I'll let you have it. So for those of y'all that sit up here and say what Amber did before the wedding, it does not matter, then I tell you what. get rid of girlfriend and boyfriend to solve their problem. That way y'all can say it don't matter at this point. So in other words, her sleeping with Wayne, her being in a whole romantic relationship with Anthony, in a committed relationship before the marriage, doesn't matter. Oh, I'm about to go. I ain't gonna be on here for too long. So please enlighten me. Make up your minds. Because the one thing you not gonna do with me is play my face like that. So either you want to be in a committed relationship with or without the ring, or you just wanted to be the ring only. Because if you wanted to be the ring only, then again, let's eliminate girlfriend and boyfriend. Because I am really sick of y'all trying to say, well, it was before the marriage. Because you wouldn't do it for a man. If a man did what Amber did, y'all would not say that. Y'all would say it was wrong, that he is being unfaithful to his girlfriend. No, we're not going to do that. If you're going to say that it's wrong for a man to cheat on his girlfriend, then it is wrong for a woman to cheat on her boyfriend. So make up your mind. Make up your mind here. Because either you want girlfriend or boyfriend or you don't. Because if you cannot commit in a romantic relationship as girlfriend and boyfriend, then you're not going to be able to commit in a marriage. So yes, girlfriend and boyfriend does matter. Because what you do as girlfriend and boyfriend trickles into your marriage. Do you not understand that girlfriend and boyfriend is the basically preparation for you being husband and wife, to prepare you to when you have children? So let me go ahead on and break this down for you. You cannot mix up courting and dating with girlfriend and boyfriend, because that is not the same. Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. So, hold on a second, y'all. Hold on. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, y'all, I'm not at home. I'm visiting family, so I'm trying not to talk too loud. Everybody trying to sleep. Anyway, I'm not at home. I wish I was. But you cannot eliminate girlfriend and boyfriend. You just can't. Y'all got to make up your minds here. Either you want to keep girlfriend and boyfriend or you don't. So again, for those of y'all that keep saying it's before the marriage, please stop with the madness, because it just ain't gonna work with me. Because here's the problem. A commitment is a commitment regardless of whether it's girlfriend or boyfriend, regardless if it's a job. You made a commitment. So for those of y'all that keep saying that girlfriend and boyfriend doesn't matter, then I tell you what, eliminate it, please. Just eliminate it. Just say that girlfriend and boyfriend is no longer a factor at this point. Does that make sense? Am I making sense here? Because the fact that y'all are sitting up here saying that what Amber did before the marriage does not matter, then what is the point of even being girlfriend and boyfriend if y'all saying that it doesn't matter? Eliminate it at this point. Eliminate the girlfriend and boyfriend altogether. That way y'all can sit up here and be as promiscuous as you like, and then get married, and then that's it. So basically, it'll just be dating where you're just randomly having sex with multiple people. There's no commitment, friends with benefits, and marriage. Okay. If that's what y'all want to do. So again, for all of y'all on these panels, y'all ain't ready for me, because I will turn your whole entire panel upside down, because that is my philosophy. If you're not going to be in a committed relationship, then don't waste somebody's time that is. If you want to be friends with benefits, find somebody who wants to do that, not somebody that wants to be a virgin till marriage. So again, you cannot say that if you are in a committed relationship, that what you did in that committed relationship does not matter, because it does. And I am really sick and tired of y'all making it seem like what Amber did to Anthony was not wrong, that it does not matter, because it does. So again, I'm going to ask this question again. Either girlfriend and boyfriend is going to have some value and commitment itself is going to matter, or get rid of it and just have one big old orgy and call it a day. There are people out here in relationships that do threesomes, swinging. I mean, I've seen men that watch their wives have sex with another man in front of them. But y'all don't want to talk about that too, do you? Because that's in marriages. So, let's talk about it. We all adults here, shall we? Exactly. She would have given him a choice. Ross, you know how I feel about all of this. You know how I feel about all of this, and you know where I stand with it. And that's why I'm doing this today, because see, y'all be going off on Ross, and Ross ain't wrong in no way, shape, form, or fashion about what he has said. Because what he's saying is right. There is nothing that Ross, Pierce, or anybody else has said has been wrong. I'm just saying it in a way that makes sense. You cannot say that girlfriend and boyfriend, it matters, but now you're saying that it doesn't. 20 years ago, girlfriend and boyfriend was a huge thing. And yes, it mattered because it was a commitment. Men that were out here courting, you know what I'm saying? That was the whole point of courting, to be girlfriend and boyfriend. And you not being a whore, you not being promiscuous. That was the whole point of your father vetting all the men that you dated. That was the whole point of that. That was the whole point, because your daddy didn't want you out here being promiscuous. Your father didn't want you out here being a whore. So the fact that y'all out here doing this mess, it just don't make sense to me. It will never make sense to me. So again, you got to make a choice here. Either you want to be a girlfriend to become a wife, because there are stages. Everything is stages. You can't just be a wife. Because if that was the case, it would be the same way it was 40 years ago. Well, about 50 years ago, when your parents picked your spouse. When you didn't even have a say-so as far as who you married. You now have a choice. And as a woman, if you really are a woman that wants to be committed, then abstinence and being a virgin matters. That was the whole point of girlfriend and boyfriend. So a woman that was a virgin could be with a man and be in both parties, male and female. Both had to be abstinent and a virgin. So if you want to be real here, let's be adults here. If you have one person that's having sex and one person is not, is that evenly yoked? No. That person has more experience than you do. And ladies, let me also be frank about something. The fact that you are with a man that is having sex with multiple women and you're not, is that really what you want? Why would you want a man that has sex with multiple women and you're not even getting his first, but you're giving him your first? I'm just saying. Welcome to adulthood. Welcome to healing and recovery. Because these are the things that once you get into it, you're going to be pissed about. You're going to be mad and you're going to be angry. Because all the men you slept with, all the friends, family, whoever, are no longer in your life as of right now. You lowering yourself to build people that just going to up and disappear. So I need people to understand the way I think. Do I understand that you have a phase where everybody got a phase? I don't know one person that don't. We all have went through phases. We've all went through sexual phases. We've all went through relationship phases, friends phases. We've been through it all. But understand something. Things are in place for a reason. But if you want to strip away girlfriend and boyfriend and just strip it away, since y'all seem to think that what you do as girlfriend and boyfriend don't matter, that it's okay for someone to cheat in a relationship, but not understanding these two people are still in that relationship even when they get married, that you're just going into a different stage in that relationship, aces and stages. But okay. So please forgive me and my confusion, because I am really, really confused at this point. You cannot say that girlfriend and boyfriend does not matter and then turn around and say, oh, well, what this person did as girlfriend and boyfriend doesn't matter. No, what that person did when it came to dating doesn't matter. Not girlfriend and boyfriend. That is a commitment. That means you're exclusive. That means that's the only person that you want to be with. That is the person that you potentially want to give your last name. I'm just saying. Maybe I think differently. Maybe I'm somebody that believes differently. But no, a man telling you that you're the only one that he wants to be with, you're the person that he wants to give his last name to. So when he proposes to you, it is not you being his fiance in the way you think. You being his fiance means that man wants to give you his last name. That means you two have built something as girlfriend and boyfriend. See, let me do this the correct way. Number one, when you are dating, that means, yes, it doesn't matter. Anything that you did in your dating phases, it doesn't matter. But when you are looking for someone to marry, it is intentional. So yes, girlfriend and boyfriend does matter, because that is what's going to prep you for marriage. Because if you can be committed to a person and y'all are not legally married, but you are married in every other way, meaning that y'all spend time together, you live together, you can say vows and not sign a bit more of a sheet of paper than the man in the moon. You don't have to sign a piece of papers to be married. And you certainly do not have to have a ring to be married. That is not what marriage is. Marriage is a commitment. It's a covenant. It is evenly yoked. There is no one person over the other in a marriage. There is no one person does one job, the other one does. No, that is not marriage. Marriage is we work together as a team. It is teamwork makes the dream work. It is 50-50. It is we both take care of the kids. We both pay the bills. We both make decisions. I have dreams, you have dreams. So let me clarify it for you. Girlfriend and boyfriend is not children. Okay? I need to go ahead and say that for the younger generation. Girlfriend and boyfriend is not children. Girlfriend and boyfriend is the two of you not having children. The goal is for both of y'all not to have kids, for both of y'all to be able to live your lives, enjoy your lives, travel, see the world, grow together, and do everything you want to do before you have kids. Marriage. Marriage is the first 7 years of marriage. Do not have kids. Do not have kids till you turn between 30 and 35. Wait. Don't have kids until y'all are financially stable. If you working at McDonald's, don't have kids. If you're not making enough money to barely pay your own bills, do not have kids. You're going to have to learn there's a different way of having sex that has nothing to do with those body parts touching each other. There is a way to be intimate and those two don't touch each other. It can be done. So all I'm saying is there are other ways to do things. But you cannot sit up here and say that when it comes to relationships, that girlfriend and boyfriend don't matter. And that what you did as a girlfriend and boyfriend doesn't matter. Yes, it does. It absolutely matters. Because that will trickle into your marriage. It's just like if you don't deal with communication as girlfriend and boyfriend, it trickles into your marriage. If you don't understand that children, when you have children, there is no more dating. There is no more girlfriend and boyfriend. It is them. There is no divorce. You're not going to stop being a parent because the fact of, that's like saying, okay, best example. Kids, a lot of kids that are in foster care. They're in foster care because their parents didn't want them, chose not to keep them, okay? The reason we have to make better choices and better decisions, the reason you cannot be running around at 16 years old having sex, because here's the thing. Once you have sex, you're pretty much saying that's your husband. You're saying this is the person that for the rest of your life you want to be tied to the rest of your life. And I need y'all to start being more realistic and start understanding. Young people should not be having sex. Young people should be enjoying their lives. Young people shouldn't be thinking about dating. They can date after they turn 25. All kids need to do is just have fun. That's it. That's all they need to do is live their lives, enjoy their lives. But all this having sex and all of this commitment, these kids don't need to be at 16, 17-year-olds dating, 13 to 14 dating, even 9 or 8. They shouldn't even be on that phase. And I think we need to change that. We need to stop letting these kids go to prom. I'm starting to go back to the times where girls went to one school and boys went to another school. I'm really starting to think we need to go back to that, to be honest. I think they need to be separated because we got to make some changes here. The way society is not working, and I'm just being honest. So again, do I see the point of it all? When it comes to Amber, I do. But I am telling y'all, I am not going to act like girlfriend and boyfriend does not matter and what you did as girlfriend and boyfriend does not matter. I do not care about when you did something. The point is, if you did something negative, there are consequences, repercussions, and karma. And that is just the reality of it. There are consequences, repercussions, and karma. There just is. So again, I understand everybody's points of view. I do. But in the end, that is not what matters. What matters is whether or not what that person did is wrong. Whether you can prove your theory, you can prove your point of view is what matters. It's not about your feelings. Because to be honest, nobody has to care about your feelings. Nobody has to care about your wants or your needs. They don't have to. They choose to. So again, the next time y'all come on my platform talking about, well, it was before the marriage, please don't. Because I'm trying to tell you, if y'all continue, that is the one thing I'm going to push to eliminate girlfriend and boyfriend at this point. Because if girlfriend and boyfriend really doesn't matter, then eliminate it altogether. Then we as a society needs to eliminate girlfriend and boyfriend. And I promise you that will not last long. Because when these men realize that y'all don't care about being somebody's girlfriend or being somebody's boyfriend, guess what? Men are going to stop asking you. And the only thing they're going to do is that's when the SA is going to end up being at an all-time high. That's why so many women are being unalive now because, like I said, y'all are making it seem like girlfriend and boyfriend is a joke. That's why so many women are getting SA'd and so many women are being unalived and so many young girls are being MO'd. because y'all have made sex into something that is now a joke at this point. Y'all are making it so it's okay to be promiscuous, a harlot, a succubus, and a Jezebel. Make up your minds, ladies and gentlemen. Either you're going to be a godly person 100%, and you are going to look at this for what it is or not. But either way it go, you cannot say that on one hand, what Shayla did was wrong, but yet what Amber did to Rolanda was not. We're not doing that. Wrong is wrong regardless of who does it, regardless of when it was done. The point is, it was wrong. What Amber did was wrong. The fact that she did not give Anthony the choice before they got married, did not tell him the truth. Their relationship was doomed when she slept with Wayne. So technically, they were not married. You're not married when you go into a marriage based upon a lie. So all it was they went from friends to girlfriend and boyfriend to fiance to marriage. And now a child is involved. It is stages. Everything is stages. Everything is levels. And if you're not ready to take that next level or the next step, then I don't recommend that you do. But stop messing around with women that actually do want to get married, that actually do want to be girlfriend and boyfriend. Then if that's the case, go get you a prostitute. But then again, if I was to really go into the truth about that, a lot of y'all would be pissed off. So let me start. All right. Women Tonight started with succubus. Anybody who ever read the story of Lilith. Succubus were women that were demons that went around and had sex with men, with mortal men that have demon children. Harlots are women that basically essentially are women that are independent. Well, I would say independent, self-sufficient, and dominant. They want power. And they will use their sexuality to get power. Whereas Jezebels, it's about women that basically use their sexuality to get money from men. Same thing as prostitutes, but that's a whole nother conversation. But at the end of the day, like I said, y'all have allowed men to tell you what your identity is. So let me break this down for the history of this so it'll make sense. At one time, being a virgin was of value because it was very much a value. And you had to be married in order to break your virginity. Okay? It's still in the Bible. It's still there. So the problem is a lot of men, that was not what they wanted. So how prostitutes came to be was when there were all of these wars and when they were getting all of these women that they ended up becoming enslaved. These women that were very beautiful women that they enslaved based on when they took over their lands, they became what is called concubines. And these are women that were beside these very rich and wealthy, emperors and kings and so on and so forth. So these were women they used for pleasure. Even though these men were married, they used these women as, as their playthings, that they would have sex with these women whether they wanted to or not. These were women, if you ever seen The Return of the Jedi, do you remember when they were trying to save Layla? And you remember Jabba the Hutt had her sitting beside him, and she was chained? That is what they really did during that time. Now, how prostitutes came to be, that was more Sodom and Gomorrah. That was when women were out there trying to sell their bodies to be able to make money, to survive. So that's the reason why prostitutes, and they called them women of the night before they called them prostitutes. So those were women that were basically, again, slaves that were sold to certain traders, and traders ended up using them as prostitutes. So there you go. That is how that happened in the beginning of time. Well, Now it's a little bit more advanced in today's society, but again, how everything everything, like I said, has stages and levels. So what happened was, at one time, it was about women being virgins. It was about women being, abstinent, not having sex. That was really the big thing. But that wasn't really what men wanted. Men still wanted the fancy girls. They still wanted the concubines. Even with Solomon had how many? I don't even know how many wives and concubines and mistresses that he had. But the point is, there were men that had multiple women. So again, ever since then, men at one time, yeah, they were married, but they were still going to the strip clubs and going to prostitutions and having sex with other women, and their wife had to stay with them. Well, when feminism came to be, that's when everything changed. That's when women were allowed to choose their husbands. Women were allowed to divorce their husbands that committed infidelity and committed adultery. And now y'all are going backwards. So now that women have the right to choose, now that women have the right to work, women have the right to be independent, men are realizing now that women are not going back to just sitting home and being housewives. Women want to build businesses, they want to build brands, and they're not rushing to have kids. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not. Matter of fact, I'm proud of these young girls, honestly. I wish my generation would have been like that, but that's a whole nother conversation. But we didn't have social media either. But the point that I'm trying to make is that there is a history and evolution when it came to women. I'm all for women being as far as their sexuality, I'm all for it. I agree. But when you are giving your body to multiple men that ain't never gonna marry you, then I have to disagree. So again, sex does not mean that man's gonna be faithful to you. It does not mean that he's gonna do right by you. None of that honestly matters. Not to them. So again, y'all got to start making some heavy decisions here. What do you want? Do you want to be promiscuous, or do you want to be a wife? Because again, being a wife, when it comes, there is even something in the Bible about how you have sex as a wife. So yes, all it is that men are running out of women. That's all it is. They're running out of women. There are more women on this planet than there are men. The bottom line of the situation is, you cannot say that girlfriend and boyfriend does not matter. You cannot say that what a woman did before the marriage doesn't matter. Then what a man did before the marriage doesn't matter either, now does it? You can't do that. At the end of the day, men and women mentally are the same. When it comes to men and women, we are the same when it comes to mentally. We are only different when it comes to body types. But when it comes to the way that men and women think, choices, decisions, action, behavior, men and women are the difference. You're just raised differently. The only difference is men are raised one way and women are raised another. That is the only difference. That is it. But again, if men were allowed to be more emotional and more understanding women's emotions, if women understood that we cannot demasculate men when they are in their feelings, and we learn to understand each other and understand that it isn't about one person being over the other. Neither one of y'all are each other's parents. Hey, you're not parents to each other. Y'all have parents. It is not somebody's job to be somebody's mama. It is not somebody's job to be somebody's daddy. At the end of the day, both of y'all should be able to do what you love, your careers, whatever you want to do as girlfriend and boyfriend. Girlfriend and boyfriend is, you have the right to have a career. Both of y'all living on your own. You're not living with each other, but you are together, but you're building something separately. So let me break this one down for you. Love and basketball is prime example of what I'm speaking of. If y'all seen Love and Basketball, there were 4 stages, right? When they were younger, when they went to high school, in college, then they got older. Okay? 4 stages. That is true. Those 4 stages in Love and Basketball is absolutely correct because that's the way it's supposed to be. He tried to stop her from playing ball like she told him. Look, when you were the big man on campus, it was okay for you, and I stayed up all night for you. But now when it comes to my career and my dream, now you want me to stop my dream because of what you're going through. And that's not fair. So again, I need people to understand as adults, it is not about being in child relationships. I'm not your parent. I am not your parent. I am your partner. And as a partner, I have every right to live my dream like you live yours. You don't have children until y'all have done it all. So when you get married, that means you have done it all. And you wait a good 3-4 years before you have your firstborn. Take the time to enjoy your marriage without kids. Enjoy yourselves without having children. Travel, see the world, see what's out there. When you have done it all and you are in your, what I like to call, well, what most of y'all call the boring stage, where you end up committing infidelity, let me explain why. The reason you are committing infidelity, and then I'm going to bed. The reason that you are committing infidelity is because you did it backwards. Marriage is not about you. It ain't about him. It's about your kids. 18 years. Okay? So let me be frank here. When I had my first child, when I had my only child at 21 or 22, I said I wasn't having no more. I meant that. Why? Because I was not bringing another child going through being a single mother. I wasn't doing it. I put that in God's hands. And I said, Lord, if it's meant for me to have another baby, then it will be in your hands and I will be married. If I am not married, do not give me another child. God meant that. God basically delivered on that. I have not had any more kids. So again, it is one thing when you have one. But do not continue to date multiple men and continue having multiple kids thinking that these kids are going to keep these men with you. It's not. So again, I don't recommend anybody having children in their 20s. I don't recommend it. I recommend in your 20s, you figuring out if what your parents taught you is correct, getting therapy, dealing with your family issues. I feel like that young people need to just be young. Live your lives. Wait until you get about 30. Then start dating. Because you've been in a job for a good 10 years. You're in a career. You stacking up money. You live in an apartment. Even if you live at home with your parents. That is okay. Again, you don't have to rush to be in a relationship. You don't have to rush to move out. Enjoy being able to come and go as you please, and it's just you for a while. So for the first, when you turn 18, just enjoy it for the first 4 or 5 years. It just being about you. Going to therapy, dealing with your family issues, go to college, graduate. And then when you graduate college, take about a year or 2 to just enjoy you for a while. Go out with your friends, go to bike week, have a great time. It's not about a man, it's about you. Now, when you get about 27, 28, that's when you say, okay, now it's time for me to start thinking about it. Because 30 is more so, I'm more settled. So a boring life is basically this. A boring life is you have no problems, nothing going on. Y'all have both worked hard, achieved your goals, and now you're settled. The best way I could think about it is Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, when it came to the Huxtables, is the best way I could explain it. If y'all seen the way that when all the kids went to bed, Cliff and Claire danced in their living room, that is what marriage is. Your date nights are not going out. Your date nights are staying in. Y'all both have been in your careers, and one is now building something that is a business. And now I can retire my husband. And now me and my husband can be here with our kids before they get older. So now we can work from home. Now we can build a business. We can build a brand. That is what marriage is. Marriage is boring. It just is. Your sex life is different. It is all different. But it's peaceful. So all of this excitement that most people want is because, again, y'all got married young. You got married young. And all it is when you get married young, then having kids young, the reason why the divorce rate is high because people are having kids at younger ages. And you really haven't lived. And now you have kids, you're still trying to go out, hang out, meet people like you ain't got kids. That's unrealistic. No, once you have kids, all of that is out the window. It's about them. So whether you single or whether you in a relationship, the point is you made a choice. And you can't look at your child and say it's their fault. You the one that laid down with that person, decided to have a baby. And God was like, okay, well, since you laid down with this person, I guess this is going to be your baby daddy. You think God don't pay attention to that? You think you just randomly got pregnant? No, God was like, okay, well, since you laying down with this person, I'm assuming that's your husband. So that's going to be your husband. The man that gives you a child. It's not the man that walks down the aisle. It's the man that gives you your kid. That is your husband. Because marriage is two people that have laid down and now you brought a child in the world. Mommy and daddy. That is husband and wife. So you start with girlfriend and boyfriend, husband and wife, mommy, daddy. The 3 stages of marriage. So when you become a parent, there is no divorce. Romantic relationships, it has nothing to do with marriage. It has everything to do with raising your kids. So whether y'all are romantically linked or not, it don't matter. What matters is y'all got a kid and y'all have to work together. You have to be there and you have to support that child. There is no, I'm going to break up with you. There isn't. Now, mind you, foster care, the only reason that foster care is in place because, kids still need somewhere to go. So, yeah, and these kids are, out here, and some of them never get adopted, which is sad. So, again, we have to be more responsible. And that is what healing recovery is. Healing and recovery is coming to these harsh realities and realizing I went about things the wrong way. I made choices that I shouldn't have made. And these are things that you have to unfortunately come to the realization of. Does it make it right? No. But marriage is not the same as girlfriend and boyfriend, because girlfriend and boyfriend, you're more free. You don't have kids. You're not supposed to. Girlfriend and boyfriend is just you and that person. Husband and wife is family. So it's a transformation, transition. But if you just go ahead and have kids at a young age, you just skipped a whole entire step. We're skipping steps. And that's because we're not taught life skills. And that's why I said, as a healing coach, that is the one thing that I'm teaching people. That there are steps in everything, including relationships. There are steps. There are times where you're friends and y'all go your separate ways, but you're still friends. Let me give you a good example. Me and my best friend, who I've known for, I have to say, almost 30 years. All my friends, I don't talk to them every day. I don't talk to them every day. Because I don't see the point. I love them. But they have their own lives. I don't call them about my problems. But when I see them in person, when I come home to visit, it's as if them 3 months or however long I've been gone don't even matter. It's as if them 3 months, like them like me and my homegirl, we stopped being friends for 8 years. 8 years. And it was from 2017 to 2024. Well, 2024, 23. About 7 years. Almost 10 years of not speaking because of a misunderstanding. And when she and I finally had a conversation, when she realized how sick I was, when I tell you she did not realize that I was sick, that's why I could go on a trip. Basically what happened was she had got a trip for her birthday, but it was a non-refundable trip. I couldn't go because I got sick and then lost my job. She didn't know that. She was so upset. And I told her I would give back the money. But she couldn't understand that I was really, really sick. I almost died. She didn't know that. And I was trying to tell her, but she didn't listen. And we stopped speaking for 8 years. So the fact that I had found some pictures and I sent her the pictures and I explained to her that I was really, really sick. So she started seeing my videos. She said, "Why didn't you tell me how sick you were?" I said, "I tried to tell you. You didn't believe me." But when we met up, it was as if that whole entire 8 years didn't even matter. It didn't even matter. It was like in 1 hour, we caught up 8 years in 2 hours. So again, your friends, your family are not always going to be in every journey that you're in. There will be times you will be alone and it will be just you. And there will be times you will be with people. You are going to lose people. But that if it's meant to be, they'll come back to you. And that is the whole point. We didn't come back together as friends the same way that we were. Our friendship is completely different than what it was. And no, we do not talk every day. Because she has a whole boyfriend. I'm the one that's single. So again, you have to respect people for where they are. And sometimes you got to say to yourself, this person got to go through their journey. I can't be a part of it. That don't mean I don't love them. But sometimes it's not that friendship come to an end. It's just friendships can go in different places. It's just like your best friend meets another friend. So I'll give you another example. There's a girl that she's friends with, that she's now best friends with. Now, and I don't come between their relationship. I'm not jealous. Jealous for what? I'm not jealous. At the end of the day, there are other friends of yours that was on your journey that may have been there and I wasn't. Conversation last Christmas. And we had a really, really long conversation. And like I told her, I said, I don't really care about y'all being friends because I don't. But she and I had a really good conversation. She told me how much she missed me, so on and so forth. But again, I need people to understand that sometimes some people need to be alone because some journeys they need to walk alone. They don't need to walk with anybody. And some people need somebody to walk with them through the journey. But when you give your life to God, I need people to understand your mind frame is going to be different. When you tell the Holy Spirit that you're ready for the Holy Spirit to come into your world, when you say you want God to show you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty at all. It's not going to be the truth. Your version of the truth ain't going to be the truth that you're going to be presented. Trust me when I say that. It's not. Every person that has been alone with God is not going to show you the truth that you think is going to be. It's going to be a version of the truth that you ain't going to be ready for. It's just like a never-ending story. If you saw when Mateo looked in that mirror and saw that little boy, he did not understand that little boy was him because that little boy was reading that story. It's just like when you read a story. Every story has more than one book. It can be more than one book if it wants to be. But your story is yours. Everybody is just in your story. But that doesn't mean they don't have their own story, because they do. So they could be a story within a story. So again, you need to understand that there will be a boring period of your life, and you will understand that that means peace and tranquility. So it doesn't mean boredom in the fact that there's nothing to do. It just means it just means that your life doesn't have all of this chaos. You and your husband don't have any issues. So it may seem boring because you're used to always something going on, always some type of drama going on. That's all that is. So the problem is, for some people, they just like to be self-destructive. They got to be in something because that's all they know. All they know is chaos. So it's hard for them to accept peace, quiet, and tranquility. Whereas another person who has been through a lot and like, no, I'm good with just being at home. I'm good with not being out. It's not that they don't want to go out. They just don't want the chaos of other people's energy or other people's problems. So again, you got to find somebody that's in that same mental place. So if you somebody that's more quiet, that's more laid back, that's more in your peace and your zen, and then you got somebody that's more chaotic, that just ain't gonna work. So that is what you have to look for. So when you heal and you recover, the way you look at people gonna be very different, because you're gonna have non-negotiables. And those non-negotiables are permanent. Those non-negotiables are not changeable. They're just not. So there's a difference between a person that is actually an adult that lives y'all may think it's a very boring life, but this person travels, they see the world. They do not live a boring life. They just ain't got all the chaos of infidelity or domestic violence or not being able to pay their bills. These are people that even though they got the money, they're really not spending money like that. Because they realize that, okay, I have all this money and I could buy a Birkin bag, but why am I buying a Birkin bag? So the person that has all this stuff, that's because they're ready for it. Some people are given stuff and they're not ready for it at all. They're not ready for everything that comes with it, if that makes sense. So I want everybody to understand, when I do these Country Wayne skits, I understand every last one of your points of view. But as somebody that is in the last stage of my healing perspective, I look at them differently because of what I went through. I look at them differently because I had to take accountability. Even though I didn't do anything negative, meaning that I ain't somebody robbing, stealing, committing crimes. I'm not somebody playing games with people. But that doesn't mean that I haven't done negativity. So let me explain this. There are people in the world that are genuinely good people. But what you did wrong was you let people lead you astray. You let people, because you wanted to be loved, liked, appreciated, valued, needed to be a part of something, be validated, all that stuff. You went against having sex before marriage. You went against trying to be chosen where people didn't accept you, where God didn't send you. So that accountability is different. You have to take accountability for the fact that you were led astray. You have to take accountability of what you allowed people to influence you to do, to manipulate and bamboozle. So that accountability is different than the accountability of somebody hurting somebody. That accountability is harder to deal with. You taking accountability for something that you did wrong is a lot easier than taking accountability for what you allowed somebody else to do to you. That's different. But yes, you have to take accountability for that. You have to take accountability for the fact that you allowed somebody to do you dirty. You have to take accountability for the fact that you had sex before marriage. You have to take accountability for the fact of you having a kid before you were ready to. So, yes, you have to take accountability. Because it isn't just what the person did to you, it's what you allowed. And that is harder, a harder accountability to take. But once you do, that's when you have your non-negotiables. Your non-negotiables come from that accountability. So now the having sex before marriage, the not going on dates at night, those non-negotiables. So now you have to find somebody that understands those non-negotiables. A man that is celibate, so on and so forth. So now it's not about being with somebody that's a non-believer and you're a believer. It's about being with somebody that is a believer just like you. Somebody that is celibate just like you. So even though your personalities might be different, but your morals, values, principles, and ethics, what you stand for and what you believe in is the same. So it isn't about what somebody look like. It's about the fact of how both of you, when it comes to the way you go about things, might be different. But in the end, what you both expect is the same. Y'all have the same moral compass, you know. So that's how I look at situations. So I look at it from all perspectives. I don't just look at it as, well, this person made a mistake and that's it. I don't look at it as, okay, this was before. No, no, absolutely not. I look at it as accountability is accountability. You did wrong. I don't care why you did it. The point is it was wrong. Unless somebody forced you to do it, that is the only way I will accept it. But if you did it because somebody manipulated you, there's no excuse for that because you should know better. The first time, yes. After that, no. You are just a willing participant. So, no. But if you were younger, like if you were young and you didn't know no better, okay, cool. But when you get like 13, no. After the age of 12, no. You know better. But then also I have to hold your parents accountable because why didn't they teach you why you should have did that in the first place? So, you know, adults have to be worked on first before you can work on kids. So, like I said, accountability goes both ways. It doesn't just go one way. Because even if you did everything right, the point is you chose the wrong person. So even though you were doing all of these things, that person didn't reciprocate it, then that means that was never your person in the first place. But you couldn't accept that. So that's where your accountability has to come from. You chose the wrong person. You were the one when that person told you they weren't interested, continue to pursue that person. So yes, you have to take accountability for that. You chose the wrong person. So again, going back to Amber, it's the same thing of everything I just said. Amber has to take accountability. So this is what I mean by accountability. Yes, she acknowledges what she did, but she has not taken accountability. Let me explain what accountability actually means. It is one thing for you to say that you understand the accountability, but to actually take accountability, that requires change, physical change. You just can't say, I take accountability. No, that means you're going to have to change, meaning that you have to cut ties. If she really thought that what her and Wayne did was wrong, then she would have cut complete ties. She'd have never went over there asking him to help her as far as the bar. Her and Anthony wouldn't have anything to do with Wayne because she doesn't have any kids by Wayne. Anthony has children by Shayla. That's a whole different entity. So number one, you have to cut ties. Number two, you have to tell your spouse everything. She still hasn't. He still hasn't. So again, she has to make amends to Rolanda, which she did, because she did say she was sorry for what she put Rolanda through. So she did make amends with Rolanda. She did do that part. So she has to make amends to every person that she wronged. And what that means, if you owe somebody money, you got to pay them back their money. If you abuse that person, then you need to make amends. If that person is no longer here because you did something to unalive them, then you need to go and make amends to their grave. And whatever you need to do to make amends to that family, that's what you need to do. So it is pretty much you going back to your exes, and you make some conversations got to be had. Because I'm going to tell you something. You will never get nowhere until you make amends to the people that you've wronged. And Amber has not done that. So even though, yes, the fact that she went through everything she went through, it was not for her and Anthony to get back together. That is not what it was supposed to be. Her taking accountability means she took time to herself to heal, to learn. She cannot throw in Anthony's face Shayla when Wayne is still very much a part of y'all lives. No, can't do that. When you have made amends for your wrongs, you can never throw up what that other person does. You can't. You just can't. You can't throw in somebody else's face what somebody else did wrong, especially if you the one that was the cause of it. So at the end of the day, what she needs to learn is that, number one, you are the one that made it seem like you didn't care about your husband at the time, that was your boyfriend at the time, when you were sleeping with Wayne. You did this in front of Shayla's face. You need to take accountability that you gave her the rule book to steal your husband. So that's what I mean. Those type of things. You have to take accountability for the fact you gave Shayla way more powers than she deserved. You have to take accountability for the fact that you told her that you slept with that man, where she should have never did. She got to take accountability that she had sex with Wayne all the way up until the engagement, until the wedding day. You did not once tell that man that you slept with Wayne. So yes, that is her accountability until she basically tells him the whole truth, until she makes amends of the fact that you can't keep throwing in Anthony's face when you did the same thing. Because what if Amber would have gotten pregnant by Wayne? Y'all forget, she did get pregnant by that man. So I'm just saying, she almost did get pregnant. So that could have been her in this situation. So she almost did get pregnant. So she can't really hold anything against Shayla. She can't. She doesn't have the right. So that's the problem. You can't put yourself in a position with a woman that is a godly woman that didn't do anything at all and got cheated on. No, you can't do that. If you cheated as well, then you can't even hold that side chick accountable. You did dirt. So she can't really hold Shayla accountable. Not when you yourself did wrong. Amber cannot present herself as holier than thou because she reads the Bible. It doesn't work like that. If you've done wrong, then you have no right to chastise a side chick if you also cheated. You can't. So she cannot be on this high horse and saying that Shayla is a bad... No, you can't do it. You don't have the right. So if you're a godly person and you have done the same dirt, how are you going to chastise somebody when you did the same dirt in the exact same way? What Wayne and Amber did was the exact same thing that Shayla and Anthony did. So she can't say that she's better than Shayla. She can't. She can't. Because she's not. And see, that's the part that Amber needs to understand. It's different if you are the woman that was the wife and you got cheated on and you didn't do anything wrong. That's a whole nother conversation. But if you did wrong before the marriage, then what that man did during the marriage, even though it was wrong, doesn't mean it's not justified. That's your karma. Your karma was, while you was sitting there worried about Wayne, Shayla stole your husband. While you was up here sleeping with Wayne, she was calculating how to get your husband. So like I said, does it make it right? No. But the reality of it is, if you have done the same dirt, you cannot throw it in the other person's face. That you can't. You just can't. And that's what people need to understand. The only time you really can hold something like that is if you the person that didn't do nothing wrong. If you didn't do nothing wrong, then by all means, you can all day long say what you want to. But if you yourself have done the same dirt, then no, you honestly cannot. You just can't. So that's the whole point of this Amber situation with Tamara. Tamara has no loyalty to Amber. Her and Amber are not friends. So she doesn't have to be loyal to Amber. And like I said, Amber's anger with Tamara being friends with Shayla, that is not even the issue. The issue was about the house. It was the fact that the house that Shayla has is bigger than the one that Amber has. I'm not talking about the house they live in. I'm talking about the house that Brittany was living in before. And matter of fact, Amber can't even keep nobody in that house. Brittany just moved out of that house. So, at the end of the day, she can't keep nobody in the house. So how is the house being paid if Brittany is now gone? Unless she got somebody else to move into it. So like I said, I get it. I get all of your perspectives. I really do. And I understand where it's coming from. I even understand where it's rooted from. So don't get me wrong. Don't think for a moment I don't understand where you're coming from. But the stage where I am right now, I'm not arguing with nobody. My whole thing in the Bible, it says, love thy enemy. Feed thy enemy. So if that's what God is saying that I have to do, then that's what I have to do. So that's what I'm saying. Instead of me dealing with somebody with vinegar, I deal with them with honey. So instead of me coming at Tamara, Tamara did not sleep with Anthony. Tamara did nothing wrong. Tamara never had an affair, never did nothing. All she did was befriend somebody that became close. So I can't sit up here and be upset, especially if that's a choice that she made. Now, what I will say is, eventually you're going to see the truth about her. Like the same thing she told Sonny. Because eventually everybody sees the truth about Shayla. But like I said, when this whole situation unfolds with Delicia, everybody thinks, matter of fact, before I go to bed, let's talk about that. Is Delicia going to be Shayla's karma? Somewhat. Let me explain that. The fact that she still wants to be with Iman, yes, then I would say yes. Because the fact that she is obsessed with Iman and she's determined to get him back, so I would say yes. But then I would also say no. And let me explain why. That would just push her back to Anthony. So that's why I said the fact, I hate they did that, honestly, and let me explain why. The part that y'all gonna hate, okay? Now, from a writer's perspective, based on them doing that, I would say that Anthony and Shayla gonna get back together. And let me explain why. I really don't want to do this, but I'm gonna have to. Because this channel is about being 100. Anytime they do something like that, where they put somebody together and they break up that person, more than likely them two gonna end up back together. Let me explain why I say that. All right, if they really did not want Shayla and Anthony to get back together, they would have kept her with Iman. They would have had Delicia going after Wayne. See, that's what I wanted. I wanted it where Delicia was gonna try to go after Wayne, which originally that's what it was supposed to be. I really did not want her going after Iman because, see, Iman smokes so much that he don't remember nothing, okay? The fact that you going to get somebody a house, you get a house, this person get a house, everybody get a house. Okay, Oprah, got you. We get it, Iman. Everybody get a house. Well, I tell you what, can you buy me and all of my followers a house? I mean, since you giving away houses and all. So again, he's not going to do anything but do Delicia the same way he did Shayla. Soon as he sees somebody new, as soon as Alicia gets on his nerves, he gonna find somebody new. That explains why him and Tiana got divorced, because you get a house, everybody get a house. So if you're going to give your girlfriend a house and then give her homegirl a house, well, I'm asking myself, did he do that in real life when it came to Tiana Taylor? That might be the reason why that you are not with her anymore, that maybe because you gave people a bunch of stuff that you shouldn't have been given, even though y'all were doing threesome at the time? Okay. Got it. So that's why I say, But that's why I say with this situation, the reason I'm going to say yes and no when it comes to the karma is because, yes, is she going to be devastated about the fact that Alicia is sleeping with Iman? Yes, she's going to be. Is she going to be mad at her mama and blame her mother for bringing Delicia in the first place? Because if her mother would have never brought Delicia into town, none of this would happen. She still probably would have met Iman, but still, she wouldn't have had to worry about Delicia in that issue because her and Iman would have been together. So the reason why I say that they're pushing Shayla and Anthony back together because Anthony and Amber are still having problems. And eventually he gonna start to miss Shayla. Now, I'll throw another monkey wrench. Anthony's not thrilled about PRA being with Rome. Now, who's to say that he's not still in love with PRA? Don't know. All I'm gonna say is it's very complicated. So it could be possible that he may try to cause problems between PRE and Rome. I wouldn't be surprised. So that's the way I look at it. So I just tell people like this here, in these situations, is that when it come down to these, people in these skits, it can go so many different directions. But again, you can't expect anybody to be loyal, honey. Loyalty is something that is earned. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that anything that go on these skits is right, but it's more so about understanding than it is about being right. So really what I try to do with these skits is really try to teach people to look at multiple different scenarios. Make sure what you're doing is the right thing. Make sure it's really what you want to do, and make sure you can take whatever comes with it. That's the whole point. So like I said, I completely, like I said, I see every side of it. I do understand that, should Tamara be in Amber's house, and would that be considered being two-faced? Yeah, it would. But at the same time, she is dating Wayne and Anthony do business together. So whether Amber likes it or not, they're going to see each other no matter what, unless they get an office, which is something they need to do. Wayne, Rolanda, and Anthony need to get an office, because then Rolanda just got an office. So I don't understand why they just can't do business at the office. That would solve the whole entire problem. So they need to get an office. And if I was Amber, I would recommend them getting an office. That would be the problem solved. She ain't got to worry about seeing Tamara. But do I think Amber going to be at that party? Yes. I think so. Why? Because Anthony going. She ain't going to let Anthony go by herself. And then, not only that, another reason I think it's going to be good that she go, because she going to find out the truth about Wayne and how... Let me go ahead and put it on up there. A lot of truth's going to come out in this Wayne's birthday party. Number one was going to come out is Anthony going to find out that Iman met Shayla through Wayne. Not only that, with Amber being there, she'll find out the truth about PR and Shayla being friends, because she don't know that Roan was introduced by Iman and Shayla. But wait a minute, y'all. Hold on. For those of y'all that said that Amber didn't know that Piari was friends with Shayla, yes, she did. Let me explain why. Rome told her. You remember Rome said we met through Shayla, so yes, she does know. She does know. Because when she said, how did you two meet? He said, we met through Shayla when Iman and Shayla. So that right there told Amber that PRE talks to Shayla. So again, it's not just about Shayla and PRE being friends. It's the fact that Shayla is talking to anybody associated with her. So it doesn't matter. But she didn't say nothing about it. She just act like what Rome said didn't happen. But yet, when it comes to Tamara, you're reacting in a different way. Okay. So it does have something to do with Wayne. That's why I said it has something to do with Wayne, because Rome said right there and said that PRE and Shayla were cool. So he said that's how they met. So 2 and 2 make 4. So it shouldn't have took long for Amber to realize that PRE and Shayla are friends, but yet she didn't go off on PRE. All it was when she saw that, it was just timing. The fact that she saw that house and then thinking that Anthony bought the house, and I just think Tamara came at the wrong time, honestly. She just lashed out on Tamara, which I don't understand why, because Tamara ain't done nothing. Tamara ain't got nothing to do with it. So that's what that was. So I get it. Like I said, all of your points of view, I get it. I completely and utterly understand. I do. But at the same time, you're going to have people that, again, you're going to have problems. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's about keeping your composure. You got to be able to see the difference between nonsense and BS. So that's why I said I do these so differently, because when y'all respond, like I tell y'all, I read the comments and I understand. Personally, I'm with you. Professionally, I think differently. So personally, I'm with you on it. I get it. I understand. I'm with you. I'm with y'all on it. I get it. When it comes to loyalty, I don't blame you when it comes to the situation. But at the same time, when money is involved, you got to put that to the side. You got to put all of that to the side and say, you know what? I got to swallow my pride. I'm just going to go ahead and try to, get along with her. I don't have to have a real conversation with her. I don't have to really, say too much. But Tamara would have been a great ally for Amber if she'd played it right. So again, that's how I feel the situation. So y'all, I am about to go take myself to bed because I'm tired. But yeah, I wasn't planning on coming back on here. But when I saw people arguing me to the ground as far as girlfriend versus fiance, I don't care. The point is, I don't care if you did something before the marriage or after. The point is, it was done. That's what matters. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I am going to bed. I appreciate the hearts. I appreciate the gifts. I appreciate y'all, period. So don't get me wrong. I'm with you. I'm with y'all. I understand why y'all feel the way you feel when it comes to this situation. I get it. I'm empathetic. I'm sympathetic. I'm understanding. But it still doesn't make it right. And that's what it's about. It's about the fact that you can prove whatever you prove it and do right. That's it. So, but we'll work it out. So with that being said, I'm off the bed. Till next time, something happened. So now y'all know how I do my content. Like I said, I read your comments, and I do my research before I respond. I take into account your feelings. I take into account I try to get reasoning as to why that person said what they said. Most people are very descriptive on my channel, so it don't take long for me to figure it out. Other people are very more short. I know the difference between internet trolls who's saying something and people that really watch the Country Wayne skits. So I get it. I understand. Like I said, as far as how y'all feel, I see it from every perspective. I do. And then I turn around and I look at the information and I do my research. I watch the videos and then I respond. But that does not mean I don't agree with you. It doesn't mean that I don't understand. It doesn't mean I'm not empathetic. Look, trust me, I get it. From every perspective today, when I talked about it, I got it. And I'm with you on it. For a lot of y'all, I'm with you. Personally, I get it. I do. I get it personally. But professionally, I don't. So, again, every situation has to be broken down in order to figure out what is what. So, I'm with you on it. I really am. Because I get it. I get it. Like I said, some of this stuff is very triggering for a lot of people. So don't think for a moment I don't understand, because I got it. I do. That's why I became a coach. Because like I said, in order to help people, we got to be teachers. We got to be able to understand, and we got to be able to help people grow and evolve. So trust me when I say this to you. I get it. I really, 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 really get it. Don't think for a moment I don't. Don't think for a moment that I don't understand y'all points of view. I do. But I do my research and I verify if it's correct. And then say, if it's not, I break it down in a way to where it's presentable. But that doesn't mean that I don't think you all are perfect. I do. Y'all mean the world to me. So again, like I said, now y'all have an understanding how I look at it. This platform is not about right or wrong. It's about solutions. But my solution for Anthony and Amber, just get divorced. They do not need to be together. The fact that she is so quick to accuse him of something that he didn't do, just go ahead and be with him, call it a day. Because like I said, it's stupid at this point. But I get it. So like I said, a lot of us are emotionally invested in a lot of these skits. A lot of this stuff reminds us of our lives. I get it. So don't think when I read your comments, I'm not saying you're wrong because you're wrong. I'm saying you're wrong because you're not being objective, meaning that you're just looking at it from one side, but you're not looking at it from the side that matters, mine. But that does not mean that I'm always going to agree with you. But it doesn't mean I don't either. It just means that everything is different now. But I do understand and I do get it. Like I said, a lot of y'all who talk about what's about loyalty, I'm all about loyalty. So again, it's not like I don't understand all of your point of view, but it just is what it is. But then again, who knows? So with that being said, I'm going to bed. So I hope this helps. So again, if y'all keep saying that everything happened before the relation, before girlfriend and boyfriend, just strip it at this point. Just strip it. There's no point. So with that being said, this is how I do my panels. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome to say what they need to say. And you have every right to feel the way you feel. I'm not somebody that's going to tell you how you should feel, could feel, none of that. But again, before I go to bed, just say it like this here. I'm going to say it again. If you're not going to be, if y'all saying that what girlfriend and boyfriend doesn't matter, then we don't need girlfriend and boyfriend at all at this point. Because you cannot skip steps, and that's what we have been doing our whole entire lives. That's like saying you're born and then all of a sudden you start walking. No, some people, they do walk when they get 10 months. That's because the woman's pregnant. But you don't just start walking. There are steps that you take to learn how to walk. There are steps that you take to learn how to read. There are steps that you take when it comes to life skills. Everything is steps. No, I'm sorry. I'm about to go to bed. No, I'm coming back on again. Ross, I promise. I'm gonna have you up here. It's just been a long day. I just had to get this off my chest because Ross this morning, irked my nerves so bad. I wasn't even planning on coming in on live at all. I was chilling, and then I saw somebody's platform, and I said that I think Amber is mad because of Wayne. When I tell you them people went off on me, that's why I did this today. It was not my plan to go on live. But no, I got you tomorrow, I promise. This wasn't even a planned live at all. It wasn't. It was just one of them things. I was about to go to bed, and then somebody said, well, it was before the marriage, and it just hit a nerve. Y'all gotta understand, I was with 2 men for 7 years. I find that insulting. I was in two relationships for 7 years, 14 altogether. So that's why when people say that, I take it personally, because I don't take girlfriend, boyfriend lightly. I do not take that. When I'm in a relationship with somebody, I do not believe in infidelity. I do not believe in cheating. I don't believe in none of that. I've never cheated. I don't believe in it. If I'm a cheat, I might as well leave. So I'm a straight with no chaser. Do it in front of your face, because trust me, I have. I'm a do it in front of your face type of person. So I ain't got time to lie to nobody at this point. So that's why I said these Country Wayne skits hit personally for me, because I've been there. Not all of them, but this situation, I've been there. I was the girlfriend. I wasn't the wife, but I was the girlfriend in both of them. And it wasn't my best friend, but still, I've had friends, cousins, that have dated each other's men. That's what I'm saying. Y'all just don't know where I come from. This is normal. This is normal. Y'all keep thinking this stuff ain't normal. Yes, it is. You live in certain cities. Yes, it is. It's very normal. It is normal for cousins, mamas, daddies, sons, daughters to be dating the same. Look, it's normal. It's normal. That's why for some people we take these skits seriously, because these skits hit home for a lot of us because it is personal. We have seen it happen, or we've experienced it. So it is a lot of trauma, trust me, that we do not want to be remembering. But that's the one thing about these skits. They bring out a lot of trauma. And so as a coach, that's the reason I started doing the Country Wayne skits, because I used to hear people in chats and they took this stuff personally, and I can understand. So no, these are not skits for a lot of people. That's why people watch it. That's their therapy. Honey, this is their therapy, because a lot of people say if they would have had these skits 20 years ago, the decisions they made would have been completely different. So again, it's good to have these skits, because like I said, we as coaches can use them. Therapists can use them. This is how we help people. It's just, like I said, even though, yes, they are skits, but these are real life situations that happen to everybody. Well, not everybody, but people have been through it. And a lot of people think this mess is okay, that what these men do, it ain't. And if we as therapists and coaches do not use these skits to help our patients, by using these skits, people would think this behavior is okay. It ain't. So y'all have to understand, I'm not just doing this as a personal perspective. I'm a coach. I have to be objective, and that's the whole point. I got to be objective. So I have to hold people accountable. The same thing in a basketball game. If somebody's trying to win a championship, guess what? I got to hold the person that's not doing what they supposed to be doing accountable. And that's the one thing about coaches. We hold y'all accountable. That's what a coach is. A coach is somebody that coaches you through what you go through. But at the same time, we have to hold y'all accountable. We do. So there is no looking at it from the way these panels look at it. You know what, one of these days, I'm going to get a bunch of therapists. Matter of fact, I'm going to go on LinkedIn, right? And I'm going to find a bunch of therapists, right? And I'm going to find some therapists and coaches and mentors and counselors who actually watch these Country Wayne skits and have them come up here. I promise you, you will see a completely different conversation. Some of y'all gonna be like, how in the world is y'all can think like that? Because y'all about to see the difference between people that are therapists that look at these Country Wayne skits and people that are actually just regular individuals. No, y'all gotta understand, it's a difference. Because it's just like when y'all go to counseling and you go see a counselor, do y'all have any idea the stories that we tell our husbands about y'all? Honey, you have no idea the stories that therapists have about their patients. And we talk to our husbands. We may not say by name, but we will tell our husbands or wives about our experiences. Trust me. So yes, it's a huge difference between people that are, therapists that talk about these Country Wayne skits and people that are regular people. So yeah, we're being objective because that's what therapists do. That's what mental health is. It's about being objective, logical. Whereas your body is more your feelings, your physical. The subconscious ain't nothing but the body. So, but like I said again, I get it. I understand. I really, really do. I get it. I understand. Like I told y'all, don't think for a moment personally, I don't understand. I do. But I still have to be objective. So yeah, I'm right there with y'all. Like I said, when I saw the confrontation, I was with y'all on it. I thought that, that confrontation needed to happen. But I will say this as somebody that if I wanted to be a manipulator, then I would say emotions are not for everybody. Because here's the whole point of it. Tamara doesn't have to care about Amber's feelings. Amber doesn't have to care about Tamara's feelings. The point is, just because you in your feelings doesn't mean somebody else is. Just because you think the way you think, just because somebody doesn't mean somebody else has to think that way either. So the one thing in healing that I need people to understand, just because you feel the way you feel doesn't mean everybody else has to care. And I need people to understand, stop going to talk to people and you in your feelings. That's why I said Amber should have been civil and should have just, sat down with her calmly. But I do think it was the worst time for Wayne to bring her over there. Why? Because she just was upset about that house. She was still upset about that house. So I just think it was timing. I just think that between the house and the situation with Kai, stuff like that, I just think that bringing Tamara over there was just the wrong time. She just got through seeing Shayla, and she had to bow down to Shayla and be nice to Shayla. So every time she sees somebody associated with her, she's gonna spaz. And it has nothing to do with that person. It's got everything to do with the fact she's got to bow down to Shayla. So that's why I said Tamara was just the punching bag, basically. Because sometimes, even though, yes, I believe that she's upset about Tamara and Shayla being friends? Yes. But not to the extent of today. That wasn't what that was about. Sometimes people can be mad about other things and they just take it on that person. That's what I saw. I saw the fact that Amber has to constantly keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And I really think she's starting to get tired of shrinking. And the fact that she had to go over there with Anthony and she had to swallow her pride and be nice to Shayla. I don't think that's really what she wanted to do. And then the fact of seeing the house, I think, and then the argument with Anthony, I just think that still trickled into today. So when she saw Tamara with Wayne, it's just like everything is hitting her at once. That's what that was. It was just that between finding out that Tamara is dating Wayne, like I said, when everything hits the fan, she gonna spaz. She gonna spaz because there's still a lot of stuff she don't know the truth about. So again, it was really about Shayla. So it had nothing to do with Tamara. Because Tamara being friends with with Shayla has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with the fact that she cannot understand why Shayla is winning. Point blank, period. That's what that's about. It's a jealousy. And jealousy can be very ugly. So even though she may not think she's jealous of Shayla, yes, she is. She is. Because if she wasn't, like I said, it wouldn't matter if she's friends with her or not. Tamara ain't do nothing wrong. Like I said, they could have been civil. Amber could have been civil. Amber has been civil before, so that's not it. I've seen Amber. Amber has been civil when it comes to Rolanda. So, no. After what Rolanda did, and she's still civil, you forget. Anthony stopped Rolanda's wedding, went over there to her house, and yet she still comes over to the house. So, no, Amber can be civil if she wants to be civil. But that wasn't what today was about. It was just timing. If Tamara would have came over before she went to that house, this would have been a completely different conversation. The conversation still would have happened, but Amber would have been more calm about it. The fact that she saw that house, that's first thing. The fact that she had to bow down to Shayla and she had to be nice to Shayla, knowing she wanted to whoop that trick, yeah, that's what that was. And then when Tamara brought up Shayla's name, that's when it really triggered her. Because Shayla has infiltrated that woman's whole entire life. So, yeah, that's why. So it had nothing to do with Tamara. It had everything to do with the fact of the house. She is mad because Shayla is still winning. Shayla still gets a house. Shayla has her husband's firstborn child. Yeah, all of that. And it is starting to boil over. See, she's trying not to let it boil over, but it is. It's boiling over whether she wanted to or not. And today, it boiled over. It's like a volcano. It just boiled over. That's what happened. So that's why she was upset. And that's being objectively why. So it had nothing to do with Tamara. Tamara was just a punching bag. Tamara just happened to be there. Tamara said her name. That's how it triggered. Because when Tamara came in there, she was calm until she said that world's name. When Tamara asked the question, that's when she got upset. So that's how that happened. Because if it really, like I said, Tamara doesn't have any loyalty to Amber at all. So there's no reason for her to be upset. You can be civil and not talk to somebody. So Amber could have still been civil to Tamara, even though she knew Tamara and what's the name of friends. And Tamara knows how to be civil to Amber and not be friends with her. But that's pretty much what I thought. So with that being said, I love y'all. I do. So now y'all know how I think. So there you go. I've responded to all of y'all comments today. Today was about responding to the comments because Lord have mercy. The comments I was getting, I was like, Lord, why? So tomorrow, Thursday, I probably will have a panel. I'm going to be asleep. But I am still going to do the panel. But if anything else come up, we'll talk about it in the next panel. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. But like I said, before you say something, please do your research. Especially on my platform. Because like I said, I try to respond to y'all in the videos. But today I was just at my wit's end today. I was just at my wit's end when it came to these panels. So I just decided to just do this today. So with that being said, I love y'all. And that's the bottom. And thank you for saying that. Amber made a choice and she can't take it out on. Exactly. She made a choice to go back. She got to take everything that come with that. She made the wrong choice at that. But she decided to go back. She got to take everything that come with it. When you go back to somebody, you got to take everything. Any choice, decision, action, behavior that you do, There are consequences, repercussions, and karma. And you got to take everything that come with it. Even regardless of what reason you went back, the point is you got to take everything that come with it. So with that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going back to my hibernation and cocoon because I'm taking a break. Because y'all, oh my God. This is why I come back every once in a while. Because, Lord, the way... And the funny thing was, a lot of people that agreed, but Lord, the people that didn't, I was like, ooh, Jesus. When I said what I said, everybody got pissed. I was like, Jesus. I'm going to need a come to Jesus moment. But y'all, I'm going to bed. I'm going to sleep. With that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I am going to bed. I got to be up early in the morning. With that being said, I will see y'all next time. And again, I get it. I do. I understand. But that doesn't mean that I can't be logical about it.